Hello and a very warm welcome to a brand new series of the Adventure Show. We're back for our 11th run, and this time we promise to be tougher, muddier and more extreme than ever before.
As always, we'll be scouring Scotland for the best adventure sports action. We'll be off to several new events, as well as revisiting some old favourites, like the Mountain Bike World Cup in Fort William and the Keltman Extreme Triathlon.
We'll also be keeping track of all the greatest challenges and adventures that are taking place, not just here in Scotland, but right across the world as well. It promises to be another great year.
First up, we're in the borders for the Bowhill Duathlon. Now, this has been described as a back to basics event with the trail running and mountain biking very definitely off-road. It's going to be pretty muddy and extremely hilly.
It's absolutely brilliant. This event starts with a 12-kilometre mountain bike ride through the forest of the Bowhill estate near Selkirk. It's then off the bikes and on with the running shoes for a 9-kilometre run on some equally gruelling terrain.
The pain, it feels so good.
So for this episode of the Adventure Show, yours truly is the guinea pig. It seemed like a good idea at the time, but I'm not too sure now. Thankfully though, I'm not the only one in our regular running cameraman, Dominic, well, he's pulled the short straw as well.
I kind of know what these events are about, so I've just got to try and keep up with Michael. That's the only sort of spanner in the works. Hopefully the cycling will tire him out.
Downhill now, downhill. Should be better.
So, Michael, your first duathlon and you're being filmed. How are you feeling?
A wee bit apprehensive, there's a few nerves there. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. It's quite good to have something to sort of gear towards, and over the last couple of months I've not done loads of training, but when I have done it, having that at the back of the mind's been quite good.
And I don't want to kind of add to the sense of apprehension you have, but you do realise that you're carrying a mantle for all of the Adventure Show here today, so we're expecting really great things from you.
Yeah, definitely I've picked up that there needs to be a respectable ending to it, so yeah, the pressure's just getting heaped on.
Also in this month's Adventure Show, we're getting a bird's eye view of our stunning landscape. And we'll be looking ahead to the World Orienteering Championships, which this year we're hosting here in Scotland. It should give the sport a huge boost.
It's a really big deal. I remember when the World Championships was here in 1999. I was 12 years old then, and that's really inspired me. It's brilliant.
Right now though, it's time for the Bowhill Duathlon. As you can see, we're just a few minutes before the start of the race and everybody's raring to go. Michael, is the adrenaline flowing for you?
That certainly is, yep. I think that, as you can see, there's a fair few folk here, and none of them look like novices either, so a fair amount of pressure on. Obviously, Des, you've made sure that I'm fully aware of the mantle that needs to be kept with the Adventure Show team, so yeah, I'm psyched up for this.
Good morning everybody, welcome to Bowhill. Thank you very much for turning out. You'll have noticed that the Adventure Show are here today, and they have somebody in the race, a ringer in fact. Michael, where are you?
Yeah.
There he is. Michael's from the Adventure Show, so please make him feel welcome, but give him a good doing as well. So, we'll start shortly. Brace yourselves.
And just a few seconds to go before the race starts. And they're off. Here it is, they're off. Really heavily charged atmosphere over the last 10 minutes or so as people have been waiting at the start line ready to go. Just raring to get going and get moving and warm up a little bit. It's a pretty cold, dreary day here today. Quite a few folks pretty keen to get in there at the start of the race to get a good position at the front there.
One of the favourites in today's race is Rory Downey from Edinburgh. 2 years ago he became a professional Xterra or off-road triathlete. But he's not taking anything for granted today.
Your average Xterra will take 2.5 to 4 hours depending on the race and the terrain, and there's so many variables which go into racing that you can never be too sure, but this shouldn't take longer than an hour and a half. Plenty of good athletes out there in Scotland, and I mean there's no swim, so the swim's my strength. I mean anything can happen. You can be a favourite, but you can never guarantee anything when you're racing off-road.
Another competitor to watch out for is experienced triathlon racer Kai Jackson from Ulverston in the Lake District.
There's some good competition. There's 2 or 3 really good mountain bikers here which are better than me, so usually I'll get a little bit away on the bike and I'll try and claw back a bit on the run. But yeah, there's always quite a few good guys here. I think triathlon's one of those sports, and duathlon it's the same. It's very friendly competing, so everyone's always willing to help each other out, and if somebody passes you, you know they've earned it because everyone's trying hard, and there's no real cheating, I don't think, in triathlons. You are competing, but you're always racing against yourself.
And that's made even harder when the race is scheduled in February. Today's competition is the third and final event in this year's Bowhill series. After an initial section up the forest road, the bikers move on to single track as the course winds up and down through the trees. There's a variety of technical terrain ahead before they reach the top of Parnassie Hill. After that, it's mainly downhill back to Bowhill House for the changeover. Then it's off with the helmets and on with the running shoes for the second half of the course, and some equally demanding racing through Howe Bottom and up to the high point near a disused quarry. Here the competitors turn round, and then it's a final race back to the finish line. The fastest should complete the whole route in under 90 minutes, so it's a comparatively short event. But that brings its own challenges.
I would say that this is a tougher event for me than a 50-mile race, bizarrely enough. The 50-mile race, you could just get into that pace, you've got your own rhythm, and once you're there, I find that very comfortable. Whereas this, I am flat out from the minute I leave. It is very, very tough.
I'm used to doing a lot of endurance events, and for me this is really short, so you've got to try and get psyched up to go right away from the beginning. You can't kind of allow yourself half an hour to get into it, because if you did that you'd be almost finished the bike by the time you'd warmed up. So yeah, trying to think about your warm-up and how to get kind of psyched up on the start line to really go for it.
How do you do that? What do you do?
Just being a race and being, having a mass start does that for you, because you're racing head to head. You can see where the other people you're racing against are, so that kind of motivates you to kind of keep pushing right from the beginning.
Rosemary Bide from Edinburgh is a seasoned triathlon and adventure competitor, and she's currently the leading woman in this year's Bowhill series. She's already won both previous events, but knows she still has to give it everything if she's to hang on to that top spot.
I did the same event last year and I came third, so I definitely be aiming for the podium, and to win would be great, but yes,
and of the
got to be realistic.
That beat you last year, are they here again
One
this
of them is, yes.
Okay.
Look out for her.
Rosemary's up against local competitor Caroline Wallace, who came second in last year's event. 15 years ago, she took a break from teaching to concentrate full-time on triathlons. Now she's back at the chalk face, but still racing.
I was training with the Scottish team when there was a Darren Smith coaching who took on board a lot of athletes and said you've got to be professional if you want to really go for it. So for a time I tried and gave it a good go and just missed out on like Manchester Commonwealth Games, that kind of era. So now it's just keeping fit and hoping you retain some of that fitness from before. I think that's the idea. This is just for fun. I don't train anything like I used to train, it's just for enjoyment more now, and I do somehow enjoy them, which is a strange thing.
Further back, as he pedals past our cameraman Dominic Scott, Michael Stewart is already finding this race more of a challenge than he thought.
Right, Dom.
How's it going?
All your advice and I'll go on a gasket.
Going off too fast, eh?
No. I'm just wondering when this incline stops. My thighs are well and truly pounding already. Safe to say I don't think I've actually overtaken a single person yet. Just
settling in, I guess.
Yeah. So I'll wait for that second wind to kick in. Hopefully it'll happen soon. Totally different type of fitness, all this. Totally different to what I'm used to.
It's Michael's first time competing in this type of event, and we thought it only fair he should have some idea of what he was letting himself in for. The day before the race, we allowed him a sneak preview of the course with event organiser Paul McGreal. It was a baptism by fire.
Well, here we are on the cycle track. This is what we're doing first tomorrow in the actual race. And I thought it'd be worthwhile to actually get a catch up with the course organiser, Paul, and just find out exactly what was going through his head. Never mind that bit we've just done, but this bit that's coming up, what is this all about?
Hey, mountain biking in hills, they're a marriage made in heaven.
Must be a lot of people that'll be getting off and pushing that, myself included probably.
It's a bit damp just at the beginning there. Yeah, some folks will get up this, some guys will ride up here. I suspect the majority won't though.
So even though I think I'm going to be pushing this, let's have a wee bash and see if I can get up it on the bike.
Okay, let's have a go.
Yes, Paul.
This is the final proper climb. There's a couple of lumps after this. This is the final stiff climb here. So you're nearly at the top, not far to go now, and then it's downhill only.
I'm pretty sure tomorrow, once I've done the majority of the course, I'll be blowing a fair bit there.
I would think so. Be pretty chewed up as well, assuming you're not in the lead, in which case it'll be,
of course, Paul,
it'll be fine.
Looking at my bike here, I'm thinking, is there maybe a need for a bigger, thicker tread on the wheel or something to get a bit extra grip?
Well, certainly kind of chunkier tyres will allow you to dig in a bit better.
Yeah.
What's also important is to make sure that you stay sat on the saddle, keep your weight over the back wheel, and that allows the traction to remain on the back wheel.
Because the thing is, the temptation is to get up and stand up and not be on the saddle and pound the pedals, but that's definitely not what you want to do, is it?
Yeah, which is the last thing you want to do, because that just ends up with the wheel just slipping.
So the rest of this is downhill from here?
Pretty much, yeah.
Right, let's get on. Let's
Good.
Go. Right, this looks like interesting stuff. Whoa! Yes. What's your thoughts? What is it you're looking to do? You know, you've got over 20 kilometres of track, running and biking. You know, when you're looking to mark out the course, what is it you're looking for?
I'm trying to do a bit of a mixture, actually. There's loads of stuff in here, from forest roads to this kind of single track. We're trying to make it interesting, but not stupid. You know, we want people to come and have fun. So what we're trying to do is not scare anybody too much, but then at the same time, you know, it's a mountain bike event. If you can ride a mountain bike, well, you should get an advantage, and that's why we include bits like this.
Am I out my depth here, or you know, it's quite a cross section? There will be people that are properly going for this, isn't there?
No, there's all sorts. There'll be a range of abilities here. There'll be racing snakes at the top. You know, people who are taking this reasonably seriously. All the way through to a whole load of folks who are just here for fun and to keep things ticking over the winter. That's what this series was set up for originally, was just something to aim for, to keep the motivation going.
And I don't think they'll have any problem doing that. This race series has been running since 2002, and it moved to its current home at Bowhill Estate 3 years ago. It's been a popular move with competitors.
It's such a challenging course, and it's something completely different to racing road triathlons. Great for the winter, really sort of works on your strength, and thoroughly enjoy it.
All good.
We're getting there. We do a lot on the bike with the family, and we just needed something to keep us motivated, something to aim for. So Claire thought,
that was my idea.
This looks really good, shall we enter?
I had actually originally intended to enter the medium one, which would actually have been slightly more sensible, but by the time we got round to it, it was all full, so we thought, oh, we'll just do the long one, it can't be that much worse.
Oh, it's a nightmare.
This course here today, I think, is technically reasonably demanding, but even for those that aren't so experienced, they can still get around it and have a good day. It's just a really good way in the middle of winter to get out and get the heart going on a Sunday.
Chains falling off.
No, running and cycling I've always loved them. You know, they're great fun, and I love coming to this one because it's local for me. I used to live just over the hill at Yard Ford, so I know this area quite well. And it's great coming back here and cycling around on tracks that I used to mess around on in my youth. So it's good fun.
This event is now a Borders classic. Whatever the weather, it's a great day out. And in conditions like these, even the experts sometimes end up pushing their bikes.
When you're racing off-road, it's hard for everybody, but the faster you ride, the harder it gets. So even if it's in a not very technical course and you're pushing the pace, you're pushing the intensity and you're working really hard, you can make mistakes very, very easily. So even if you're a seasoned pro like myself, or you're a beginner, it's still hard.
So many to finish, haven't you?
You've just got to kind of play to your strengths, and for me that's going up the hills and, you know, going as fast as you can on the easier sections, and then holding it as well as you can on the trickier parts. Whereas there'll be some people who, you know, the technical bits, the bit they really love, and they'll gain a lot of time on it.
Well done.
The competitors are now well into the race, fighting against the tough conditions out on the mountain bike course. Rory Downey and Rosemary Bide are looking pretty good so far, but there is a long way to go. We'll be back with the Bowhill Duathlon a little later. Right now, we're joining someone who spent last year filming our country at its most atmospheric and spectacular. John Duncan is a qualified drone operator, and he's showcased his skills in a film entitled simply Beautiful Scotland. You may think that would be simple to do, but it isn't.
The whole film took maybe about 8 or 9 months. I could have just spent years doing it. There was a lot of planning that went into it. The shots didn't just happen. Up by Glencoe, it's just an incredible spot. But driving up, there was so much mist, and I thought it was going to be a totally wasted journey. And then I got just past Bridge of Ark, and it started to clear, and it was just incredible. A lot of time was spent sort of walking through darkness, waiting for the sun to come up, or waiting on top of a hill, waiting for the sun to go down. It was a lot of hard graft, like just walking, tramping through moorland and fields. But when I look back, it was these circumstances that I remember the most, because it was just magnificent.
John makes extensive use of a specialist drone known as a quadcopter. It allowed him to capture images in a way that's impossible when using conventional methods.
I first saw a video on Vimeo, and it was of a guy who'd used one to film off the coast of Italy. It just looked absolutely spectacular, and I knew straight away I needed to buy one, because I thought if I go around Scotland, there's just going to be countless places to use it, which is going to just look absolutely stunning. They just allow you to get shots that you just couldn't otherwise get. Because of its size, it just lets you get into really quite tight and confined spaces. The shots just kind of come alive. Despite what it looks like, it's actually an incredible bit of kit. I think a lot of people see it and they think it looks a bit like a toy. But I mean, you can just get some phenomenal stuff with it. They're really easy to fly, so they hook up to GPS. So when I let go of the controls and it's in the air, it will just hover and it won't move, it won't descend, it won't fly away. And even if it's windy, it will just bank into the wind. I think one of the most important parts from a filmmaking point of view is the gimbal here, which keeps the camera dead steady, as you can see there. So whatever the quadcopter is doing, if it's windy, if it's getting buffeted about, the camera will just remain perfectly still. Everything looks great when it's steady.
John shot and edited this film himself and shared it via social media. He'd become totally absorbed in the intricacies of drone filming, the angles of sunrises and how to capture the best light. But he wasn't sure what other people would think of his efforts.
Because I'd spent such a long time looking at it, you kind of forget if it's any good. So when I released it, I pushed it really hard and I shared it across Twitter and Facebook. And on the day, I think the first day, I think it got 25,000 hits. And it was then that I knew it was something really quite good. And now it's had, I think, about 500,000 hits between YouTube and Vimeo. I love Scotland. So making this film it's encouraged me to go out to see more. And I think more people really ought to get out, because a lot of people that live in the Central Belt, I don't think they get up very often and see the kind of beauty that we have in this country. And it's just absolutely stunning.
That certainly is a fantastic way to see Scotland. But just a quick word of warning. It's not always easy to control a drone, so, not surprisingly, there are a number of restrictions in place for their use. Make sure you know what they are before you attempt to follow in John's footsteps.
Oh, that's just evil. Do you want to crash?
Welcome back to the Bowhill Duathlon. Right now the fastest competitors are reaching the end of the mountain bike section, but with a 9-kilometre run ahead of them, this race is far from over.
Well done. Cheers. There is no hiding place at all. Basically, if you've got a weakness here, it's going to be shown straight away. The riding's extremely technical. It's rooty, it's rocky, there is a lot of obstacles as well, so you really need to have your sort of wits about you on the bike, which again takes a lot out of your body as well, because you are basically getting thrown from pillar to post all the way down. If you do want to get a top result, if you want to get a podium here, you need to be pretty skilled.
Well done, guys.
Thank you.
Should we be following this pushing?
I hadn't actually been on my mountain bike since the last one of these events, but I did go on a cycle training camp in Mallorca last week on road cycling, so hopefully I've got the stamina in my legs. I think the road cycling is a lot more steady and calm and you just get into a rhythm, whereas this it's short, sharp, killer bits, and then even the downhills can be technical. Certainly last time here it was just like going down through a mud bath and just clinging on for hoping to get to the bottom in one piece.
It's a cycle race, remember this.
I would say one of the most important things is your tyres. So having the right tyres for the conditions will, keep you rolling on the hills. You'll get grip. Same with the downhills. You're going to be able to handle the bike better. I like to try and ride my bike at everything because that's what you're meant to do, and that's the challenge of it. But I think that today there will be at least one climb which is just so steep that it's probably more efficient to run it, and it might not be rideable at all. It's pretty wet and muddy.
Well done. Don't know why I bring the bike. Doesn't seem to be much sense in it.
So, the big question is, how are we doing? How's Michael coping with this demanding course?
No chance of getting up it. It being so muddy. And at the back end of a long opening uphill. My thighs are pumping. The lactic acid building up. This is this lovely bit that we came yesterday. I managed to get up it, but I hadn't been cycling for 50 minutes before I did it. And it wasn't as muddy as this. Oh my word. It's got to be the top. Well done.
For the leading riders, the transition from biking to running isn't far away. Professional athlete Rory Downey is the first to tackle the technical downhill section.
I think when you race off-road, it's very, very honest. You can pace off people, but there's no drafting like you get in the road racing, and it's very much just you and yourself, and you just go as hard as you can. And at the end of the race, if you've given it your all, there's nothing else you can really do.
Rory's made it to transition in 36 minutes and 19 seconds, well ahead of everyone else.
Do you think you've got quite a good lead in front of anybody?
Yeah, hopefully 2 or 3 minutes.
Great, well done, good luck.
Rory's nearest rival is Chris Godfrey from Edinburgh, who makes it to the changeover in 41 minutes and 41 seconds, over 5 minutes behind. A former junior international orienteer, Chris now specialises in triathlons. Like many, he's competing in this event both for its own sake and as training for the rest of the year.
Very good. It's the hard bit done. This is the easy bit now.
You feel like you had a good ride there?
Fantastic cycle action.
Brilliant. Well done. Good luck.
Thanks.
And good news for Chris, his transition was faster than Rory's, just 54 seconds.
There's quite a lot of pressure on the riders when they come into this transition point to change over into whatever running shoes they're wearing and get going. And their hands are cold and their bikes are really muddy. You can see them fumbling around, and it feels like there's quite a tense atmosphere here. How's the race going for you?
Great.
It looks really muddy up there.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Hard work. At the top it's really bad. Really thick and muddy. Hard going. Good fun though.
Still leading the race for the women is Rosemary Bide. An experienced triathlon racer, she knows that a slick transition can make a big difference to her final position.
Well done, Rosemary. How's it going?
All right. Didn't fall off. Had to walk a couple of hills, but nothing too bad. Didn't get any mechanicals, so.
Best of luck. Brilliant. Well done.
The bike was harder than I thought it would be. There was a lot of very slimy mud, so you're trying to stay upright, and when you're pedalling really hard and you're hardly moving, so that was difficult. But I've just really worked on the uphills where I know my strength is and just made sure I was safe, because you can't, if you fall off and hurt yourself, your race is over. So I wanted to get through the bike safely and then see what I could do on the run.
Less than 2 minutes behind Rosemary with a time of 49 minutes and 21 seconds, Elizabeth Adams from Glasgow is currently in second place.
Well done. How's the race going for you?
Fantastic. That was brilliant single track. Well done to Paul.
It looks really muddy.
It's fun. New bike, it's got to start, it needs to go on.
There's a new bike.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like a new bike.
It looks like a proper bike now.
How are you feeling about the run?
It's not as much fun as the biking.
Well, good luck.
It's just people who like being outdoors and kind of getting out and playing in the mud. Everyone's there to have a good time, no one's taking it too seriously, it's not the sort of posturing that you might get at other triathlons and things.
Thank you very much. Somewhere.
Caroline Wallace is the third woman into transition, and by the time of 50 minutes and 13 seconds, she knows the race is still wide open.
As soon as you get off that bike, of course, you're straight into a run, and knowing the organisers, they take you straight up a big hill or something, so you're having to get your legs started straight away and hopefully start a good running pace, but it takes a bit of time sometimes, and it feels very painful for the first bit, so I think it's tougher.
Hayden, where is it? Yes. Got it.
Got it, mate. Right. Well done.
Cheers, thank you.
Well done. Well done.
I am poor at transition. I will take time to lace up my shoes properly, and that helps look after ankle injuries as well. I did the best transition in duathlon a few weeks ago, but then I kept the same shoes on. It is a point of, should we say, contention that I need to get better at that transition.
Well done.
I think once you come off the bike, your legs are really, they're so used to going round in circles, and then trying to get them to move forward is, you've got jelly legs, so it's always really hard.
It's totally different
time.
muscles. I mean, I do quite a bit of cycling, and I can manage, fairly long bike rides, but then put me in a half an hour run, and I'm useless.
As many competitors head off for the run, Michael's pedalling hard as he tackles the final stretch before transition. It's less steep, but no less tricky.
The weather conditions just add to the technical part of it, sliding about with the dips to make it a wee bit difficult, and the snow coming right down. Just clean the lens there because the snow's coming right into the face now. Oh, sorry. Snow in the eyes, didn't even see that. Sorry, mate. I'm alright, cheers, mate. Now it's just a battle in my head to be able to do it. There you go. Cheers, man. And hopefully, when I get onto the running bit, I'll feel like I'm stretching my legs a wee bit. I'll soon find it.
After completing the bike section in just over 36 minutes, leader Rory Downey is now well into the run. He's having a great day.
You can race the same course every year, and it's never going to race the same, because you get so many different conditions, and just a little bit of rain, like it's raining today, can make any course hard. I think when you mix the off-road in, it becomes a little bit more of an adventure. You're out in the wilderness on your own, and it's very much of an escapism. So you see other people racing and you know they're going hard, and it's just good fun.
Fellow Edinburgh runner Chris Godfrey made it to transition 5 minutes after Rory. He's pushing hard to close that gap. And 2 minutes later, third place Kai Jackson from Ulverston is determined to move up the field.
It's always disappointing to be passed. If you're going as fast as you can go, you think, well, fair enough, he's faster than me, so I'll try and get him later on, or I'll try and use some tactics, so maybe I'm slightly quicker downhill running, so I try and catch people on the downs if they pass me on the up.
And here comes Michael. 1 hour and 3 minutes after setting off, he's made it to transition. The former professional footballer had hoped to complete this section in under an hour, but he's still doing amazingly well.
Hello, how are you doing?
About 3 minutes out. 1 hour and 3 minutes.
There we go. Good lad.
All right.
Keep to the left.
Cheers.
Well done.
Aye, like that start, the big incline. Whoa, can I go there? My thighs were pounding.
Oh, were they?
Aye, but it's once you jump off the bike and you can stretch your legs a wee bit.
Yeah.
It definitely helps. So I'm hoping this run's a wee bit easier than the bike ride, but I doubt it will be. Hopefully I'll be a wee bit better here.
Make up some
See
time on the bike. Good luck. Well done.
See ya.
It's nice to see Michael suffering, isn't it? All in the name of entertainment. Glad it's not me. I'm sure he's delighted he's getting off that bike and setting out on the run. We'll be back later in the programme to see how he and the rest of the competitors get on. Races like the Bowhill Duathlon and many others throughout Scotland have grown enormously in recent years. But why are multi-discipline events like duathlons, triathlons and even quadrathlons now so popular? And what's the history behind them? Bowhill organiser Paul McGreal is the ideal person to explain.
Off-road running has been around since the year dot. Its real roots in the UK were in Victorian times. The guides, runners in the Lake District, they would compete amongst themselves to be top dog, because that would mean that they would pick up the tourist groups a bit better. Cycling, post-war boom in cycling, and it's continued to grow to this point. It was a natural thing to put those things together. Triathlon came on the scene in the 1970s in America, and that added swimming to the mix. And adventure racing has also grown perhaps in the last 30 years or so, and that's added, kayaking and ropes and any other number of disciplines as well. And the whole thing just continues to grow.
Is there a need for a lot of these people that are taking part in these events that they have to do something like this? Is there some sort of psychological thing going on there?
I don't think people are trying to prove anything. I don't think that's going on at all. I just think it's just so enjoyable and it's so addictive. And there's also a kind of an escalation thing goes on here. Once you've done one, you kind of go, well, yeah, that was okay. Nothing serious happened there. What's next?
Yeah.
And once you're on that slope, it's a slippy, slippy slope. It just gets longer and longer and longer.
Adventure racing and taking part in events and meeting other like-minded people, it's just exploded. Why do you think that is?
I think it's a couple of things. One of them is that we are very fortunate in Scotland to have incredible places. We're very fortunate to have a very supportive kind of legal infrastructure. The Scottish Outdoor Access Code is a fantastic thing. But also I think, there was the running boom in the 70s and there was the cycling boom, which is slightly more recent. I think people have done that. Okay, I've done my 10K, I've done my marathon, right, what else can I do? And I think the call of the mud, the call of the wild, I think has been strong for some. It's all part of the fun. That's off-road racing, you get what you're given.
Let's talk specifically about this event then, because it's not a massive long endurance event and it's not a sprint event either, but it is pretty hardcore.
It's pretty hard. The races here are relatively short, but people finish in bits.
And when you're organising an event, because laughing at something like that, and I understand why you're laughing, clearly you like to make it hard for people.
Well, that's what they want. If it was easy, they'd go and do something else. People want it to be a bit tough. They want to kind of feel the twinges the following day. They want to know they've achieved something. The mud on the bike and the scars on the legs are a mark of merit in some way.
It's a badge they wear with pride.
They certainly do.
It's quite nice underfoot still, a few furrows, but there's quite a lot in your face, which is slowing us down a wee bit.
This August, the Highlands is playing host to the most prestigious event in the orienteering calendar. It doesn't come any bigger than this, the World Championships.
Okay, we're getting a bit closer now, up onto this hill.
And more good news, Scottish competitors are right up at the top of this sport. So, it's a fantastic chance for our athletes to shine on home territory.
It's a really big deal. I remember when the World Championships was here in 1999 and seeing Yvette Baker win the gold medal. And I can remember that I was 12 years old then, and that really inspired me. It's brilliant. That was a bit wet.
The Adventure Show will be covering the longest and toughest event of the championships, which is the finale of the week's competition. To discover more about the attraction of orienteering, we joined two of our top athletes, Jess and James Tully, in Little Mill Forest just south of Inverness. They're both training hard and hope they'll be selected for the British team in August.
It's very difficult to get the perfect run. You can always lose time somewhere or other, and that's sometimes what can be frustrating about it, but it's probably what keeps you coming back as well.
Today, experienced orienteer Mike Rogers is setting a course for James and Jess. In this sport, competitors choose the quickest way to each checkpoint, so split-second decisions are vital to success.
It's cunning running, it's thinking man's running.
Just because you're a good runner doesn't mean you're going to be a good orienteer, and it doesn't mean you're going to come up with a fast time.
Okay.
Okay, let's go.
It's like learning a language. The trick is just to pick out the bits of detail that you need, and that's how to orienteer fast.
Okay, so I'm at the track bend now. I can see the hill ahead of me. I'm catching the corner, keeping the top of the hill to my right. Before you even start a leg, on the previous leg you've probably already decided the route for the next leg, so that you're not going to be standing still at a control kind of wondering where you're going to go next.
There it is.
And you have to have a plan, and you have to commit to that plan. If you start thinking, oh actually maybe that other route was quicker, if you try and then go to change, you've had it. Okay, there's that one. Next one, I'm going to aim off just to the right to get to the path junction.
The thing about orienteering is every course is different. You get on the start line and you're in a different place. It might be some far-flung part of Scotland that not many people go to, and you've no idea what the course is going to be before you do it. So, you know, it's exciting, it's challenging.
Okay, that says at number 2, and now I've looked at the way out to number 3. Follow out on the compass.
Yeah, you play to your strengths. The direct route might be more complex. So if you're having to spend more time looking at the map, you're going to, by necessity, run slower. If you take a track route, you build in some mental capacitors to take a break in your thinking, because fatigue, you know, mental fatigue is an important factor. So if you can take a 2-minute time out while you bomb down a track, that's a worthwhile tactic.
So just now, I don't really need to think about all that much apart from just running hard. Towards the end of the courses, you've got to be really, really careful, because your body's obviously getting fatigued, you're getting really tired. That was a bit deeper than I thought. And quite often planners will put in some really tricky controls at the end, because they know that you're tired, and they know then that you've got to really force yourself to concentrate to not lose that time at the end. So it adds to the challenge. Okay, so I'm out of the woods now into the open. That's yellow on the map, and I can see the hill, and I know the control is just going to be down the other side. Looked ahead to number 4. There's a good route choice one. I don't fancy going back through that bog.
Orienteering is a major sport in many countries, and officials hope this year's World Championships will lead to increased interest here in Scotland. It's a rare opportunity to showcase this Cinderella of sports, and for our top athletes to show everyone else what they can do.
It's a once-in-a-lifetime chance for us to try and make the World Championships team and compete at the World Championships in your home country, because it'll never happen again within your elite career. If we could get, you know, a couple of medals or something, that'd be fantastic for us, and hopefully to inspire others within the sport and inspire particularly youngsters.
Okay, we're getting a bit closer now. Up onto this hill.
I just don't think you can underestimate the impact it's going to have. And for the sport, I think runners see orienteers as flasks of tea and backpacks and map cases. Well, when they see these guys that are capable of running sub 30-minute 10Ks and doing that with a map, I think it'll be a big eye-opener to the running community.
Okay, so we need to get off the path soon. Controls over there. That open bit looks really boggy, so it's not going to be a very fast line. That bit of white woodland there looks really nice. I'm going to cut over here. Oh man, that looks even boggier, so I'm not even going to cut the corner. You're not just going out for a run around that same loop, just like lots of other runners. Every time you go orienteering, it's a different challenge.
And the very best of luck to Jess and James Tully in their bid to be part of the home team.
Welcome back to the Bowhill Duathlon. We're now into the business end of the race with the fastest runners well into the run. But for others, the hard work with the fell shoes is only just beginning.
You guys know that the sorest bits. Painful.
With something like this, it's just totally different. You know, the mud, the bike, you know, it's just, you never know what's around the next corner. Especially on a day like today, it's going to be well worth it.
Well, I've never done any multi-sports events. This is the first one that I've ever done. It was my boyfriend that actually tied me into this. I didn't even know I was entered. I just got an email saying, thanks for entering, and I'm like, oh, have I?
Quick, sprint to the camera. This is only the second one I've done. I usually do mountain bike events. I'm just trying to open out and try and do some multi-discipline, maybe try and do triathlon one day, but it's the challenge of getting off your bike and running, just to try to train for both, and just the challenge of doing it. I've got a time set for myself of what I'm trying to achieve today. Whether I do that or not, I don't know, we'll see.
The fastest competitors are now pounding out the miles, with Rory Downey still comfortably in the lead. Behind him, the battle is now hotting up for second place. Chris Godfrey's still ahead of Kai Jackson, but Kai's flying round this course and the gap between the two is closing. Only a minute now separates the pair.
Well done.
In the women's race, Rosemary Bide is maintaining her lead. She's over 2 minutes ahead of her nearest rival, Elizabeth Adams.
That's brilliant.
But Elizabeth's now being challenged by Caroline Wallace, who's less than a minute behind her. And Caroline's putting in a great performance. Meanwhile, our own Michael Stewart's completed a quarter of the run to where our cameraman and moral support, Dominic Scott, is waiting for him.
There you go. Thought I'd get you on a downhill where you look quicker.
The competitive edge isn't there because I'm not fit enough to properly compete. It's just about a mental thing now for me, within myself, you know.
So did you set yourself targets before you came in here?
I was looking at about an hour and an hour, so I think I did an hour and 3 minutes on the bike.
Well, that's not bad.
Hopefully I'll be able to do the run in under an hour.
Well, I have to say you're cruising along quite happily.
Because we're running downhill, Dom.
Aye, there is that. Just ran with Michael for a little bit. He seems to be doing all right. I think it's been a bit of an eye-opener for him. But I think a good eye-opener. It'll be a bit of a boost when he gets to the top. There's an awful lot of downhill on the way back. I think he complained in the cycling there seemed to be an awful lot of uphill, but he's keeping going, which is good.
On this second half of the course, the runners head up to a high point near a disused quarry, then retrace their route downhill again to the finish. It sounds straightforward, but as Michael discovered when he tried out the course yesterday in better weather, things are never as simple as they sound.
Nice to see you've strategically placed these ones here at the pole.
A couple of natural obstacles for you there. Hurdles as well.
Interesting. When I first volunteered for this event, one of the things I thought about was, what's the sort of distance? But it doesn't really matter too much when it's so much off-road, does it?
It's different because distance, pure distance doesn't have quite the same meaning off-road. There's any number of other things that are more important. What's the surface like? How hilly is it? All that kind of thing.
And obstacles that we've seen as well.
Exactly, yeah. They can make a huge difference at times. The distance isn't quite as relevant. We express the distances here in terms of what time we think the winning times will be.
Yeah.
And actually, sometimes, these shorter races can be as hard, if not harder, than the real long distance extreme stuff that people get scared about. It's really hard to race fast.
So this is a bit of an interesting section here,
It gets steeper up ahead, I'm afraid, as well.
It's a bit more sort of stimulating mentally though, isn't it? Rather than just plodding on the track.
It keeps it broken up, doesn't it, this thing?
Yeah.
You've got to watch your feet.
Yep.
There you go. That's the turn point. So if you come all the way out here, we'll turn here, and the run goes back the other way. We prove you've been here.
Yes.
With an ingenious means. Lollies. You're going to get given a lolly when you get here, and you've got to bring it back to the finish.
I'm not allowed to have it?
No, well, depends how much you need the energy, I suppose. The reason why this is the turn point, it's not just a random area of the forest. In 1978, an Ecuadorian airman who was here training with the RAF was on a training flight through here with another aeroplane in low mist, and one aeroplane managed to dodge the hill. This poor chap didn't, and this is where he hit the deck. So a sad place, but it's quite nice to remember the guy.
Yeah, it certainly is.
In today's race, professional Xterra athlete Rory Downey is now approaching this halfway point of the run.
Cheers, guys. Well done. Mate. Well done, thank you.
Chris Godfrey is currently in second place, but is losing ground. He's now 7 minutes behind the leader.
Oh, cheers, guys.
Well done.
Much appreciated.
Well done, mate.
And to add to the pressure, he's been chased hard by Kai Jackson, who's now only 30 seconds behind him.
Well done.
With the snow thickening, the fastest competitors are now meeting racers who are still pounding upwards to the high point.
Well done. First lady, well done.
First for the women is Rosemary Bide. But for her, the hardest part of this race is still ahead.
The descent is, I find that harder than the uphill, so I've really got to work on the uphill and then make sure I not twist your ankles on the way back down. And when it's been wet and there's a lot of mud and leaves and, you know, hidden, you can't quite see where you're putting your feet and your feet are sinking into the mud a little bit sometimes. So, it is a proper trail off-road run.
The next woman to the halfway point is Caroline Wallace. She's overtaken Elizabeth Adams to move up to second place.
Well done, Caroline. Well done. Downhill now.
Most of the competitors have trained hard for today, putting in hours of preparation and fitting this around their jobs and families.
You get to Sunday evening and you have to have it all planned out for the week and what you're eating for the week and where you're going and what you're doing. Your Monday evening is an evening off, but other than that, I swim 3 mornings a week before work and then it's a couple of hours after work. Saturdays and Sundays are usually the long ones, so you could be training 4 or 5 hours on a Saturday and 3 or 4 hours on a Sunday.
It's the easy bit now. Well done.
I wish if there was an easy bit.
Oh,
this is my prize. That's your prize.
Oh, right.
Oh, I've run out of energy. Got nowhere. Downhill, you're all right. Just
remember to keep the
smile for the camera.
Sorry, I was getting your rut there.
As competitors spread out across the course, Michael's making good progress, although he's not going quite as fast as he did on his recce.
I'd just like to point out I was hurdling these yesterday. No chance today. Whew. There's a good atmosphere amongst everybody, you know. Lots of encouragement for each other, helping each other along, a wee bit of chat. Oh. Now I came running up here yesterday. Oh, absolutely no danger I'd be doing that now. No danger. Not all. Thank you. All right. I've had enough of these uphills. I've had enough of these uphills. Oh my word. Tough gig.
Out at the front, Rory Downey's run is nearly over, and what a race he's had. He's led from the very start and makes it over the finish line at a time of 1 hour, 23 minutes and 51 seconds.
Well done, Rory. Big
Thanks.
congratulations.
Thank you.
How
That was
was
a hard
it?
one, yeah, hard. The run was tough, really muddy. Oh, thank you. Yeah, really muddy, steep, falling down trees. It's like everything you'd expect from Scottish winter, and it's one of the harder races you get out there. Do I have to give this back?
No, that's yours.
Mine keep.
Yeah,
awesome, awesome, thanks.
5.5 minutes later, and there's a surprise. Kai Jackson has overtaken Chris Godfrey to claim second place. Kai's made it home in 1 hour, 29:22.
I made a mistake on the bike. Went the wrong way, so I had to tail back and find the back of the pack. And then I had a bit of work to do, but
You must have been just flying on that run.
I just managed to take 2 guys towards the end there, they're pushing quite hard, so a bit lucky to get past them.
But Chris Godfrey's performance is still one to be proud of. He crosses the finish line just 32 seconds later.
Jeez, hold on. I didn't realise till the top that I was so high up. I thought I was 5th, I was 3rd, so I had to really keep that place. Thank you.
It's a good motivation for you.
Yeah, great motivation. Pushed really hard and that's it, I'm glad it's finished.
She was third last year, but this time she's led from the very start. 11.5 minutes later, Rosemary Bide is the first woman over the line with a fantastic time of 1 hour, 41:22.
I had a quicker run. I just really focused on my arms. When you find your concentration slipping, just keep working and looking for the people around you and trying to keep up with them. And just on the downhill through the woods, there's a very difficult technical bit through the trees and you're jumping over the branches. I just took a few risks there, just trying to keep up with people in front of me and not slowing down.
Tough last hill.
Almost 6 minutes separates Rosemary from the next woman home. Caroline Wallace has hung on to second place and crosses the line in 1 hour, 47:08 seconds.
I kind of enjoyed it.
Kind
You
of.
never know where you are, but it's quite slippy today and hard work. I enjoyed it. Legs are feeling it now.
Third for the women is Elizabeth Adams. She's held on to second place till halfway through the run, but couldn't quite keep ahead of Caroline. She's over the line just 2.5 minutes later.
I don't think I managed the run. I've been doing a lot of cycling but not a lot of running, so I think it's just bloody mindedness that carries you through.
You find it pretty tough?
Yeah, the hill going up and up and up and up. That was fun on the downhill. And I think because the bike was so much fun, you come off with a big buzz and you're like, yeah, I can do the run as well. I fell off my bike last year and I was on crutches, so I've kind of taken up till now to get back. And I've always been like, I'll just take it easy, I'm not racing, it's just getting back to it. So it's good to feel like I'm racing again. Yeah.
The end is in sight for everyone who's competed in this year's Bowhill Duathlon. And on the final hill, a chance to assess the best and the worst of this race.
First time I've ever done anything like this, and the bottom of my quad's starting to go, so
best bit's finishing, not there yet. So we'll see what happens.
The worst bit is the whole of the run, because your legs are dead as soon as you get off your bike, and it's really difficult to get going into rhythm, and then you've sort of used up all your energy.
Please tell me when you're at the end.
The last stretch is nearly over, and for Michael, the finish line can't come soon enough.
Here he is. Well done! How are you doing?
I felt, the downhill felt pretty good, you know, where a lot of people losing their feet and I felt like I could catch up on the downhill, but to be honest, the uphills had killed me.
Do you know what you're trying for?
Well, let me see if I'm right. I'm going to go for an hour and 3 on the bike and an hour and 11, 12 on the run.
Oh, you were fast on the run, 1:05 for the
1:05.
run. Total time of 2 hours, 30 minutes and 22 seconds.
13 or 30?
13 minutes.
13, aye. I was just about to say. So I'm seriously wrong with this if it was 30.
And the race organisers' verdict on Michael's performance?
You're probably
the bottom end of the middle.
Mid-pack obscurity, I would say.
All right, okay, thanks very much for that. Mid-pack obscurity. It's a first, isn't it? First duathlon, first time I've ever been mid-pack obscurity.
So confirmation of those final results. For the men, Chris Godfrey came in third with a time of 1 hour, 29 minutes and 54 seconds. Second place went to Kai Jackson in 1 hour, 29:22. But out in front by over 5 minutes was Rory Downey with a time of 1 hour, 23:51. For the women, with a time of 1 hour, 49:47, third place went to Elizabeth Adams. Caroline Wallace was second with her time of 1 hour, 47 minutes and 8 seconds. But taking top spot today was Rosemary Bide, who finished nearly 6 minutes faster in 1 hour, 41:22. Well, the action here at the Bowhill Duathlons certainly got our new series off with a bang. Congratulations to Rory Downey and Rosemary Bide. Well done to Michael Stewart as well, although I'm not sure he'll be volunteering again anytime soon. But there's one thing we really must do before we say goodbye. We've just returned from filming in Nepal, where we had exclusive access to one Sherpa community, the village of Fortsey, high up in the Khumbu Valley in the shadow of Everest. We were there when the first of the recent earthquakes struck. Cameron McNeish takes up the story.
Every year, thousands of tourists go trekking in Nepal. But that's all changed after the recent devastating earthquakes. We'd been filming there with James Lamb from Fife, who's a regular visitor to Nepal. He was here last year when 16 local people were killed on Everest. And that event has changed his life. A year on from that tragedy, James has teamed up with a monk from Tenbochi Monastery, Tashi Lama. On the anniversary of that accident, they're remembering those who died. Until the aftermath of the recent earthquake, it was the single biggest tragedy ever to strike the mountain. James Lamb is no longer a tourist. Profits from a trekking agency he's formed with Tashi Lama will go to a local charity. It will help transform the lives of the people here. I've often trekked in Nepal, and I guess I'm fairly typical in that I don't know too much about the lives of the high-altitude Sherpas and the risks they take day after day after day. Fortsey is a typical Himalayan village, but with one big difference. Out of a population of 450, almost 70 men have summited Everest, some as many as 16 times. But that success comes at a price. Ang Shering is an Everest veteran. He's made 3 successful ascents. But after an accident in the notoriously dangerous icefall, he now works lower down the valley, taking supplies to a tea house.
From last year, he decided not to climb anymore. So he wants to work with his yaks. People who work around here, they are only work for the money because they need the money. He thinks it's very dangerous, but the main income source is the climbing Everest. That's why people keep going back. He does not want to go back again.
Here, the lives of Ang Shering and his colleagues are dominated by danger. And when that danger strikes, they're left without any income. James Lamb is determined to change that and to allow villagers to take more control of their own lives. In return, they've welcomed him into their hearts and homes.
We were incredibly lucky to witness a puja for a local family who, the vast majority, have set out to climb Everest. There'll be a number of them trying to not only help Westerners get to the top, but actually get to the top themselves. So the puja would be a ceremony that would take place, one, to wish them success, and two, to hope and pray for their safe return after the expedition has completed. For the people that are here, Everest has got a huge impact on their life in terms of that's where they earn most money. For example, at this time of year, if you happen to be one of the top climbers, you'll earn $12,000, which is a huge amount for people in this area. However, these mountaineering feats, whilst extraordinary in themselves, often have a huge heavy loss for the village itself. Many women have lost their husbands. Many children have lost their fathers.
Pemba Yangche lives with that fear every day. Her husband is a high-altitude Sherpa. He's away for months at a time.
She doesn't want her husband to go to climbing, but he doesn't listen to her. So she's worried about him all the time. Soon he leaves from home. Inside her mind is always worried and always thinking about him. She said it's about the same feeling for every woman from this village.
Since the earthquake, the work of James Lamb and Tashi Lama should give new hope to the people of Fortsey. It can't come soon enough.
Everywhere you go, people desperate to make tea for you, give you meals, shake your hand, thank you. It's very humbling, very, very humbling.
And we'll be returning to the village of Fortsey and its people later in the year. You can find out more about James Lamb and Tashi Lama's work and everything else in this month's adventure show by following us on Facebook.
Next time around, we'll be with the world's best mountain bikers as they tackle the gruelling Anach Moor course at the Fort William Mountain Bike World Cup. Please join us for that if you can. In the meantime, from all of us here, thanks for your company. Bye for now.